So a few years back, I walked into my boss's office to quit a job that I had for 11 years. Steady paycheck, good benefits. I still owed 85 grand in debt, plus the mortgage on our house. And on paper, that is probably the dumbest move you can make. Quit a safe paycheck while you're still digging out of debt. So I want to walk you through how I actually thought about this and how we did it. Because maybe you've got a steady job that you feel a little stuck in, or maybe you're buried in payments and a big leap like this sounds impossible. It doesn't matter where you're at right now. I think there's something in here for you. If you've seen any of my other videos, you've heard me say that we started with $125,000 in debt. So you might be wondering, why did I just say 85,000? By the time I quit the job, I'd already been chipping away at this for a little bit, and I'd sold the car that I was upside down on, and that knocked out $40,000 right there. So we got it down to about 85,000 with that, and plus we still owed money on the house as well. So it's the same story. It's just that I was a little bit further into the debt journey at that point. I had a really nice government job supporting the Marine Corps for 11 years on Quantico. It was a great job. At the top, it paid me about $140,000 a year, and it was very secure. In a job like that, you pretty much don't get laid off. The paycheck shows up every 2 weeks, no matter what. There's a nice retirement sitting at the end of that. And everybody in my life saw that job as the safe, smart, and responsible thing, especially because I had a wife, 2 kids, and a house with a mortgage. I was the picture of a guy who's supposed to keep his head down and ride a steady paycheck all the way to retirement. And for a long time, that's exactly what I figured I'd do. Now, here's where the story kind of takes a turn, because my wife and I were so close to building a brand new house, and I'm talking about taking out a $600,000 loan. We had an appointment with the builder and everything set up. It was Valentine's Day of all days, and that's when I kind of stopped and looked at this whole picture honestly. We already had debt. We already had a mortgage. And we were about to stack another $600,000 loan on top of all that, on an income where part of it was coming from a side business that could go up or down. So I had picked up the phone that day and canceled the builder appointment and just canceled everything. And didn't even tell my wife because I realized we were about to buy a dream. We were about to bury ourselves even deeper on a maybe. And that's the first thing I want you to sit with, even if you never quit a job in your life. When your income is the least bit uncertain, the worst move you can make is to go sign up for a bigger payment. The move is really to get smaller payments, get free, get flexible, not bigger. So we did not build the house, luckily. We turned around and went hard at the debt we already had instead. And while that's going on, this little side business I had, it kept growing. It was a laser engraving business that I started on Etsy, selling stuff right out of my house, and I grew it into selling items on Amazon as well. Nothing very glamorous about it, but at some point, kind of quietly, it had grown to where it was basically replacing what I was bringing home from the government job. And that's when this strange thing happened. I started to really look at the secure government job and realize the security that I thought I had was borrowed. A paycheck from somebody else feels safe, but it really isn't yours. They can cut it, they can lay you off, they can reorganize you right out of the door. Your safety is sitting in somebody else's hand, and you're just hoping they're being nice to you. Government job or not, it could happen to anybody. The only security I actually trust now is income that I had built myself that I completely control. Plus, keeping what I need to live on low enough that I'm not desperate for a single paycheck. That government job stopped feeling like a safety net to me. It started feeling like the thing keeping me stuck. And by the way, if you want to come along while I walk through these money talks and this journey, the real version of what actually happened and how I think about it, please like and subscribe and stick around. I'll be making many more videos like this, and that's what the point of this whole channel really is. I'll also drop any useful information in the description below. But I want to be careful here because this is the part people skip when they tell these stories, and it's the important part. I did not walk into that government office and quit on a hope. By the time I gave my notice, that side business had already grown to where it was covering what we needed. The money was already coming in. I had watched it do that for a good while. It was real. It wasn't a someday thing. So yeah, I quit while I still had debt, but I did not quit before my income was replaced. That right there is really the hard line, and I think it's the whole thing. The myth I broke was that you have to be totally debt-free before you take a swing. That is just not true. We were proof of that. But the rule I did not break was don't leap into something until something is actually there to catch you, because you need to replace that income first. Quitting on a real number and not a feeling is very important. And it was still scary. I was not some fearless guy about this. I talked with my wife and was very nervous before we did this. That government paycheck was a sure thing, and my business was not. Some months were great, and some months I looked at the numbers and think, what if this dries up? What if I walked away from the safe thing for something that falls apart almost immediately? There were nights that I laid awake exactly on that. But when I really sat with it, the freedom was worth the risk. The chance to own my own time, to not be stuck somewhere I'd outgrown, to bet on something I built with my own hands. That was worth being a little scared for a while. And the scared part really faded. The freedom part, that's what stuck around. So I can hear some of you already, hey, it's easy for you to say, Steve, you had a business already, you had a head start. And you're right, I did have an advantage. Not everybody is sitting on a side business that's ready to replace a paycheck. But I built that business from nothing, out of my house on the nights and weekends while people were out partying and eating out. I was still working, and then working at night too, to build this business. Nobody handed it to me. So the point here is not go start a laser engraving business. The point is way simpler than that. It's to go find your version of income that you control. Even a small one, something with your name on it that doesn't depend on one boss deciding to keep you around. It might be years. It took me years to make that happen, 2014 to 2019. But that is the thing that actually buys you options later. So did the backwards plan work for us? Yeah, it really did. That business I bet on is exactly what gave us the firepower to wipe out the rest of that debt and then go after the house itself. We ended up paying everything off, including the mortgage, in 5 years and 3 months from when we began, which I still can't really believe this. It's less time than the average new car loan nowadays. If I'd stayed at that secure job with my head down and just riding the paycheck, we would have probably been comfortable, but we would also have been stuck, probably paying on a $600,000 house we almost bought. But instead, we're free, and the leap everybody thought was reckless is the exact thing that got us here. So here's what I want you to take from this. I talk a lot on this channel about how most people don't really have a money problem. They've got a permission and a behavior problem. And this might be the biggest example of it in my whole life. That secure paycheck I was clinging onto, it wasn't protecting me. It was permission I was waiting on that I didn't actually need. Now, I'm not going to be telling you to go quit your job. Please don't go just do that. It's not my responsibility. But this was my story. These are my numbers, my timing, and yours will probably be different. But I'm telling you to look hard at the thing you call safe, because sometimes the safe thing is just the comfortable thing. And comfortable can really keep you stuck there for 20 years or more. So if you want to see how all the rest of this played out for me, the debt and the house and all that, I've been putting this into a little series here on the channel, which I'll pop up here on the screen. And I'll put it down in the description as well. Again, my name is Steve. I really appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next one.